Well, I want to know, Kurt, who are your top 5 teams at this current moment in the NBA?
Yeah, look, we're at the midpoint of the season. The Hawks didn't make it. We'll just start there. The Hawks.
Did the Spurs make it?
Sorry. Actually, Spurs are top 10 now, though.
Hey,
NBA
see?
Power Rankings come out on Wednesday today, and hey, we're going to get through. This is kind of the mid-season point because we don't do them during the All-Star break when there aren't games. So this is the mid-season point. The top 5. Let's just go through it this way. Let's start at number 5. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. They finally got Drew Holiday back healthy. They went on a 5-game win streak. That kind of got blown up by Denver, but this is a team starting to look like, hey, they were moving the ball at the end of games, and they're starting to look more like the contender we expected them to be.
Like I said before, Kurt, to me, Milwaukee is like just invest the money, let it grow, let it compound. Don't even look at it. Don't open the app. Don't look at the day-to-day trading. Just look at it back in June, and then we can start making decisions. But I think for Milwaukee, the interesting thing for me was who's going to be number 2. Giannis is Giannis. But is it going to be Chris or is it going to be Drew? And I think that Chris Middleton, every year he impresses me. Every year. He just steps up his game and improves every single year. And this year, he's giving them 20 points a game and shooting 50% from the floor and 43% from 3. Like that's exactly what this team needs from him. So I'm excited if Drew Holiday, once he gets healthy again, like he's on minutes restriction right now, but once he starts playing at that high level, I really do think that's going to be a huge impact for this team, and hopefully they'll be able to get through that barrier.
Yeah, I hope so. And Middleton's been the guy. They've run a lot of Middleton pick and roll at the end of games, so he's been the guy. Number 4, another team that stumbled a little, but we're not worried about them. Los Angeles Lakers. They haven't looked great. They got Dennis Schroeder back there, still without Anthony Davis. Probably will be at least through the All-Star break, maybe a couple games after that, but I'm not really worried about them. Like the Lakers, at the end of the day, that's still the bar everybody's going to have to clear if they want to win the NBA title.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing Marcus Gasol as well, and we know how Coach Vogel likes to use those big guys in his defensive scheme. So, I'm with you. Don't worry about it. When AD comes back after All-Star break, LeBron not traveling with the team to play against Sacramento. When you get everybody healthy, Caruso's out right now. So once you get everybody back, they're going to be the team to beat.
Yep. Number 3 on our midseason power rankings, the team that beat the Lakers on national television Tuesday night, Phoenix Suns, which may be the biggest surprise of the season, but they've been red hot of late. And I think just a lot of credit to their front office and the coaching staff for building this up. But yes, they went out and they gave up Kelly Oubre and a pick, and they went out and got Chris Paul. But beyond just that move making a lot of sense and working for them, all their role players suddenly fit. Like DeAndre Ayton is still suddenly playing pretty good defense in the middle and getting you buckets. Bridges fits just beautifully as a cutter and finisher. Like every guy they seem to have gotten fits, and they've still got to get like Dario Saric back and kind of healthy and in the rotation. Like this is a team that can get better over time, but it's really come together as a good team. How good are they going to be in the playoffs? Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll find out when we get there. But in the regular season, they're number 2 in the West as we speak, Corey. I did not see that coming.
Yes, 100%. I'm a big fan of Monty Williams, by the way. So shout out to Coach Williams. Shout out to the Phoenix Suns organization. But yeah, to me, the thing here is Chris Paul, right? So it's kind of like you look at the bubble. They were 8-0 without Kelly Oubre, which was kind of shocking if you think about it. Then Devin Booker elevates his game. Chris Paul brings everyone up and teaches them what is it like to be, a warrior? What is it like to be a champion? How do you pay attention to the little details? And then now we're seeing that translate into wins, and a lot of them, 15 out of the last 18. Yeah. So I'm excited for this Phoenix Suns team. They're fun to watch. So let's see how far they go.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, and I don't see any reason that this doesn't roll through the regular season. And but if the Phoenix Suns got to the second round of the playoffs, who saw that coming? And it's distinctly possible now.
And Kurt, think about the successful Phoenix Suns teams in the past. The one that most recently comes to mind is Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. Yeah. And you have, that's basically what you kind of have in that, except for now you have a Devin Booker. Drew. Imagine Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Devin Booker. Like Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and then D-Book. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of Steve Nash, his team, the Brooklyn Nets, they're number 2 on our power rankings this week and going into the midseason. Here's the thing. Yeah, look, James Harden is playing at an MVP level since the trade. He's not going to win the award because voters are still going to remember how he left Houston, and that's just going to hurt him at the end of the day. But he's playing that level. Kyrie's, they're going to get Kevin Durant back. But the big thing for them over the last few weeks, their defense has been average to slightly above average defensively. That's enough for them. Like if their defense is just okay. With that offensive firepower, I think they can look. They might be the team to beat in the East right now.
Yes. Once again, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Question.
Who were number 6? They're just out of this list.
I'm like, wait a second, is Philly number 1? I was like, where is Philly coming? But yeah, Brooklyn, the focus on the Nets. Obviously, we know that offensively, no worries. The thing that I love about this Nets team is, one, they like playing with each other, which to me, I think that matters because that's chemistry, especially when you get a team, 15 games in that radically has changed and you have to compete for a championship. You have to have that chemistry. And then the second thing, like you said, defense, you shore that up, you're going to score points. The third thing I think is heart, because these guys, they're playing against my San Antonio Spurs, who were playing really well.
Yes.
Took them to overtime and just will be heartbreaking, right? Absolutely heartbreaking. A 0.1 second shot, buzzer beater that doesn't make any sense by, incredible shot by DeJounte Murray. And then they come back, respond, and just close the door in overtime. And that's exactly what this Nets team is. They don't get shook. Everyone's been there before. Kevin Durant, even though he didn't play, he's been there before. His voice is important for that team. James Harden, he's been there before. Kyrie's been there. So I love they're just steely. They're assassins. A very dangerous team.
Yeah, very dangerous team. And number 1, hottest team in the NBA. Can't say enough about the Utah Jazz. They have earned legitimate contender status. And I got into it with some of their, into it would be overstating it, but got into a little thing on Twitter with some of their fans because I was like, man, that Miami Heat ending worried me when Jimmy Butler was able to beat them from the mid-range. Maybe there's some flaws. Maybe there's some things that we got to see them do it in the playoffs, and they force teams into the mid-range, and the Clippers like that. The Lakers like that. We'll see how it goes. They deserve to be the number 1 seed. They have been the best team in the regular season. They deserve where they are. They are legit contenders. The question is, the questions we're now asking of the Utah Jazz are, what happens in the second round of the playoffs and beyond, which is the questions we ask of contenders, not of teams just trying to get in. They've come together with Mike Conley and obviously Devin Booker and Rudy Gobert this year in a
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell. Did I say Devin Booker?
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell. Sorry. I want those two facing off in the playoffs. That's all I'm asking. But.
Yeah, no, look, I would love to see that matchup. But yeah, I think the West rankings. First of all, we know how tough that conference is, but it's been a roller coaster. Clippers, the Lakers, the Denver Nuggets were up there early, and now they're not. Then the Spurs are 4. It's crazy right now. But who has been at the top for the past 20 games? Utah. They have built almost a moat around themselves. And why? It's because, first of all, they have phenomenal leadership. Donovan Mitchell has elevated from being a really good player to being a player that can get everyone else around him to elevate his game. He can give you. He and Rudy Gobert are an unbelievable 1-2 punch. You got Jordan Clarkson off the bench. You have Joe Ingles getting valuable minutes. We talk about Mike Conley, who is just unbelievable right now. So I think when you talk about that team, they are one of the most complete teams in the NBA as far as defensively, as far as offensively, and as far as culture is concerned. Yep. They take care of business every single night. So when you talk about a number 1 seed in the power rankings, it's really hard to argue against the Utah Jazz. The question is, you don't win a championship, on game 36, right? Yeah. So this second part, the post All-Star break, I think we'll see a lot about this team's character and say, okay, when you hit because basketball's a game of slumps. When you do hit that down slump, you just won 20-something games, you're on the top of the league, you've been there for a minute. When someone comes to challenge you on king of the court in the second half of the season before playoffs, how do you respond?
Yeah, and they're not sneaking up on anybody at this point, right? They're going to start getting everybody the way that the Lakers do and the Nets do and stuff now. They're going to get teams' best efforts because everybody knows how good they are. So it's going to be really interesting.